As I mentioned in the previous video, we are not going to be sewing this whole entire side seam in one go. That is because we want to attach our ropes down here and we want to create a casing up here. So to make sure that we leave a space for the casing and we are able to create that casing, we are going to start with creating some marking lines. For this, I'm going to use a marking pencil. You could also use a marking pen or tailor's chalk. And I'm also going to use a seam gauge. When you are using tailor's chalk, make sure you select a color that is appropriate for the color of fabric you are working with. Notice how here, this looks pretty white, and so if I was to use this white marking pencil, it wouldn't really show up. However, by using the blue, I will for sure be able to see my marks. I'm gonna start out with making my seam gauge so that it's at 2 inches, just like that. I'm gonna measure down from the top 2 inches, and I'm going to create a little mark. Oh, let me make sure you can see this. I'm gonna create a mark, just like that. Then I'm going to measure down 1 more inch from that marking line. So I go here, I measure down 1 inch, and I'm gonna create another dot, just like that. So this is going to be the area where I do not sew. That is gonna be the area that I thread the drawstring through. Then I wanna measure down about 6 inches. That's the length of the seam gauge. And I'm gonna create another little mark because that is where I will stop sewing the top of this drawstring bag. I'm gonna repeat those steps for this other side. Remember, I start with 2 inches. I measure down and create a dot. I change it to 1 inch. I measure down. And I create a dot. And then I measure down 6 inches and create a dot. Okay, at this point, you are gonna need to ask for a teacher check so that they can make sure you have all those dots correctly placed so that you don't accidentally sew something you're not supposed to.